Hey there, guys. Moving update. Still got plenty of boxes left. Hopefully, I can fit in one of these big ones so that way when they throw me onto the U-Haul, I'll be plenty comfy. Yeah, kind of like a skeleton around here, but yeah. Hope you guys have a feet fetish. Ooh. Yep, still trying to sort all this stuff for the move. Ooh. Yeah, it's funny. I still have so many things I'm trying to still pack up. It's just gonna be kind of tough. Don't want me getting started on the bulk. Oh, Lord. Anyway. But yeah, the main thing I want to talk today to you guys about are. Let me move it up a little bit. Boop. There we go. So, one thing I did want to talk to you guys about today is actually something that we just learned a couple days ago, and that is collector's rares in Yu-Gi-Oh. I have to say I'm kind of impressed because I've never seen Konami do multiple forms of rarities like this. Like we had like Yu-Gi-Oh was pretty consistent throughout like its entire lifetime with its rarities. Like yes, we eventually got ultimate rares, then they took away secret rares, and they brought secret rares back, gave us the ghost rares. And then for the longest time, it was pretty consistent. And then we got to the point where they got rid of ghost rares, and then they got rid of ultimate rares, and they only had the ulties in the tournament packs, and then we had like the one-off rarity things like the prismatic rares. We kind of had them like was it World Superstars, and then we got back to the Megatons. So I don't know, they're all, but for the most part, Konami's rarity system has been pretty consistent, and in some ways nowhere near the extent of like Magic with all their different kind of crazy foils, full arts, extended full arts, and like the full Monty like crazy rarity ones. And then Pokemon, Don't Get Me Started has a million kinds where it has like, oh, here's the holos, then again the full arts, the GX full art holos, the alternative arts, and then the hyper rares, like all kind of crazy stuff. But now Yu-Gi-Oh is finally getting, or I should say last year, Yu-Gi-Oh finally got a new rarity system which kind of replaced Ghost Rares with the Starlight Rares. And as many of you know, right now, the Starlight Rare market is completely insane. I mean, I was going to buy some of the cheaper ones for like $50 a piece, and believe me, I regret not doing so because now I think the cheapest ones they're like a couple $100 a piece. The good ones like the Apollosa and all the Charmers, the Masquerena, Effect Veiler, they're what like some of them are pushing like $1,000. I think the Apollosa is pushing $1,000 last time I checked. I can't, but again, it's basically just Ghost Rares 2.0. And Ghost Rares are also they were going up before the Starlight Rare, and now a couple days ago we have a new one, the Collector's Rares, and I just kind of just want to give my point on this. From my first I'll put like a picture here of what we've been seeing online for these Collector's Rares. They kind of resemble Ultimate Rares, kind of like the border of the Ultimate Rare with that fine like sheen that you kind of see. But it looks like in the pictures, it's a very like faint hollow foil. And the first thing I thought of was there's a new card game that came out. It's called Flesh and Blood. It actually looks really cool. It has really cool artwork. But that has that's similar to all the other card games where there's alternative, like every card can get like can be rare or hollow, I should say, like kind of like on Pokemon, every card can be the reverse hollow. Magic, any card can be foil. So then this they had some very similar, and there's an alternative rarity. I think it's called the Cold Foil or the Cold Hollow, and it's a very subtle but actually like a pretty cool like hollow foil on some of these cards. And that's what I first thought of when I saw this Collector's Rare. I do think this is a really bad name. I think they could have come up with something better than Collector's Rare. They could have called this like, I don't know, Crystal Rare or something, kind of given the way these cards look. But now, regardless, apparently according to the ratios that I've talked to about on some of the Facebook groups that I'm on, people say that these are not as hard to pull as the Starlight Rares. Like initially, when the Ghost Rares are out, Ghost Rares are about one per case. So it was pretty consistent that if you bought a case of the latest booster set, you're going to get one of the Ghost Rares. Well, the Ghost Rare, which is always the cover. In most cases, was the cover card, but there's only one Ghost Rare per set. And now that they brought they brought into the game the Starlight Rares, and there was about four Starlight Rares in a set. So it was like, okay, cool. There's more to get, more variants, but that means you're not going to get the one that you might not always get the best one. There was worse versions of it, like there were worse Starlight Rares to get, and also they were just harder to pull. I think a Starlight Rare is about 1 per 2 cases, and if you're lucky, you might get 2 per 2 cases. But like, I think in most cases, in the most, I think people say it's about 1 every 2 cases, or 1 in every 1.5 cases. So right there, it's harder to pull one. There's more variants because there's multiple Starlight Rares. So you gotta think that's why these are so expensive, even from the get-go. Ghost Rares were never that expensive early on. Again, which makes you think, like, my god, you could have purchased how many first edition Stardust Dragon Ghost Rares for like $60, like 6 years ago? I mean, I wish I bought them all, but again, it's, what are you gonna do? But now, here we are with these collector's rares, and I don't know if these are going to be only in the side sets, which I think is fine. I think it's kind of cool that they're introducing new rarities that are only for the side sets, because like Starlight Rares will be in the main booster sets. But then I realized, okay, so according to the group that I'm in, they say that the ratios are about 3 of I have to call them crystal rares. That's what I think they should be called, the collector's rares. There's about 3 per case. So right there, okay, these are obviously hard to pull. You're not guaranteed 1 per box, but there are more per case, so they're easier to pull than the Ghost Rare and the Starlight Rare. That's kind of cool. But then I saw this. These are all the cards that, I don't know if this is 100%, like maybe there's still more, but so far these are all cards that are known to come in this collector's rare variant, like the alternative rarity. And so that tells me that, hey, that's cool. These are, at first glance, wow, that's a lot of cards that can have this cool looking rarity. But then I also thought of it and I said, well, that also increases the variance so much that if you want a specific collector's rare, if you want that Stardust Dragon, or if you want the Blackluster Soldier in that, in the collector's rare, well, not only will you, like, hypothetically would have to go through so many cases to finally pull one. Again, if you crunch the numbers, like it kind of blows my mind that, like, man, like if let's say you bought 3 cases, that would be what, about, let's even be generous and say 3 to 4 per case. There's still a chance you might not pull. There's a good chance you might not pull the one that you want. So I think that variance is a bad thing when it comes to you wanting to pull the one you want, because, like, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be obviously like different prices for these cards, because some of them are, because I think there are some cards in here that I'm like, I don't know why that's the why did they choose that one? It's kind of like in the Starlight Rares. There was like some weird choices. The Ghost Rares were, again, there was 1 per set, but they usually chose like a card. Okay, I get why this card is the Ghost Rare. It's either the cover card, or it's like a really like iconic card in the anime, or it's just there was like maybe like a few odd cases, like when they made Mobius the one Ghost Rare. I can't really explain that, but then when the Starlight Rares came out, they seemed to have been choosing like a couple like perfect candidates, like the big boss Link monsters, and like some, or just really good cards in the set, like Lightning Storm, for example. I mean, like they just wanted that card to be expensive. And then you get some other weird choices of like kind of like really random traps, or like a really random boss monster that you think, oh, it's kind of cool that this boss monster got it, but like it's not like a generic Link monster like Apollosa or IP Masquerena. So again, some pretty odd choices. And Effect Veiler, I think that was brilliant for them to do that. But with the collector's rares, it seems like a lot of cool new cards come in this rarity, which is awesome. And then they do choose some really iconic cards like the Stardust Dragon, the Chaos Emperor Dragon, Blackluster Soldier. The Pot of Extravagance was kind of a strange one. I think that's the same logic as them making Lightning Storm the prismatic rare. They just want to have this be an even more expensive version of a card. But I think just that variance, man, is going to make some of these cards. Like the purpose of this video is for me to say that I think it's cool that you have all these cards that can come in this collector's rare, but I do think you have to really keep an eye on these, because right now there are some pre-sales that are up, and I think people are asking like I think well over $200 or $250. I think in some cases on eBay even more, like way more, like several $100s for these collector's rares pre-sale. So obviously these are just pre-sale prices, but it kind of makes me wonder, like, after the set releases, And after people start cracking cases, cracking boxes, and they start realizing that there's probably going to be short prints for these, like, I mean, you would think with these, it would be like, again, just pulling them is hard enough, but 3 per case, I'm kind of curious if there's like, wow, we have like a whole palette. We pulled so many of the collector's rare of this one card that not many people want, but then like the Chaos Emperor Dragon, there's like 1 per palette or something like that. So we'll have to just have to wait and see what happens when the set releases. But I do think that there are some of these cards that I think they're going to be worth picking up, even though they might be expensive from the get-go. If the Starlight Rare has shown me anything, is that these are going to be highly collectible. They're going to be highly sought after, even though they're newer cards. Again, like, it's not like, it's one thing to say like, okay, well, I'd rather like maybe pull this card from the box, sell it for $300, and then say, cool, with that $300, I can buy like a vintage card. I can buy like an ultimate rare first edition Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Hero Monster, Fusion Monster. And ultimately, I think that's probably the better investment. It's vintage, and vintage is always better. But again, just seeing like, if this is going to follow the same path as Ghost Rares and the more recent Starlight Rares, Collector's Rares could actually be something really cool. I don't know if they're going to continue doing this, but I'm just saying, like, keep an eye on these things. Especially, like, not so much like the newer cards. I think that's cool, but the new Toon Monsters, the Pop Extravagance reprint as that rarity is kind of cool. But I'm also thinking, like, man, some of these like iconic legacy monsters, like Chaos Emperor Dragon, not so much him, but I guess he does fall in that category. Him, Blackluster Soldier, and I don't know, that Stardust Dragon, man, I don't know. I'm just getting some Ghost Rare vibes from that. Like, it's obviously not the same, but the fact that this card is now coming in like a really hard to get rarity, it's like, I don't know. I think even at like a couple $100, you might think to yourself, that might be worth it in the long run. That might be that card might triple in price. Who knows? That's kind of what we saw with the Starlight Rares. I couldn't believe that some of them just dropped to like, I remember the Masquerena when it first came out, eventually dropped to $300, and people thought like, wow, this is still really high. And now what are they? You would have loved to pick up a Masquerena Starlight Rare at $300. The Apollosis, I think at one point they were below $400, and people thought that's a ridiculous price point. And I thought the same thing. And now, again, you would be lucky to pick up one of those you would dream to pick up one of those for that kind of a price. So, all I'm saying is, collector's rares, I think they're pretty cool. I think I kind of want to see them in person, see exactly how it looks, but this is just my thoughts on that. And, so yeah, guys, hope you guys learned something, if you guys didn't know about collector's rares. And, yeah, I guess I gotta get back to packing and moving. So, I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.